Just finding yourself in a comfortable seat. Closing your eyes and just simply dropping inside. We don't need to make it anything more than just that. Just dropping your awareness inside. And so we have these two expressions of our sight. We have our outer sight when our eyes are open, and this is more active. It's more of the yang, the heated, more of the masculine, where you are really gazing out, taking in, your mind is alert to your surroundings. And then we have inner sight. And inner sight is more of the yin. It is actually a turning inward and a listening. Listening through sensing. It is more of this darker space, cooler space. Dropping into more of the receiving of your internal surroundings by a deep sensing. I often like to pull a card before class, and I selected the card listen. Listen. You have to be willing to listen if you want to really understand someone. Now is not the time to be offering advice, but to be a compassionate listener. To listen fully and intently means to pay attention, not to just what's being said, but to what lies in the words. So we can apply this in many ways within our personal lives. And what I love to do is here on the mat, you get the opportunity to practice this listening, this deep listening in your body. And rather than offering that advice to self and telling and directing your body what to do, you are in a deep receiving and a listening and a sensing of your body's natural wisdom, your body's inherent wisdom. And I believe that the more we can do that on our mat and with ourselves, the more we can really practice that in our lives. So I want to begin us with the breath. There's no better way to listen, to cultivate this deep inner sensing and listening than really being in relationship with your breath. So it's not just you telling your body to breathe, but as you're breathing, you're really feeling, sensing, you're even feeling like the touch of breath, almost like breath were an energetic hand gliding and nourishing through your whole inner space. So we're going to begin with a 3-part breath. So just right now in this moment, I want you to just breathe really smoothly in and out of your nose, perhaps lengthening your breath just a little bit more than you have been breathing. And you're feeling as you inhale and fill from your root all the way up through your heart, through your crown. But at that same time, there's that rising. There's also this rooting down through your sit bones that's happening. Okay, and then it's the same thing. As you exhale, all of that is descending back down through throat, as your breath is also releasing up and out. So there's always this dynamic exchange. In any moment of giving, there is receiving. In any moment of doing, there is also a witnessing, or there can be. Begin to breathe into your belly and bring your right hand, or your dominant hand, I should say, onto your belly, and just start to breathe into your palm. I'm going to take 3 breaths like that and really fill the entire circumference of diaphragm, including your side waist, your low back. Good. And now bring both of your hands, one on either side of your rib cage. If that's uncomfortable for your shoulders, you can always wrap around and hold the sides. Okay. And then inhale and breathe from your belly up into your palms through your low side ribs. And then exhale, feeling them kind of melt in towards your solar plexus, which lies between the 2 sides of your rib cage. Beautiful. And then continuing to breathe through belly, through rims. Bring one hand or both hands onto your heart. And allow that breath now to rise all the way up into your palms, the front of your heart chakra. And at the same time, it's breathing open into your palms. Can you find the very back space? And you could draw a line right to the back center point of the back of your heart chakra. So there's opening as well. Belly, rims, heart, let it extend all the way up through your throat, through your eyes, even beyond your crown. Good. And then slowly releasing your hands down. I will offer you the option to bring one hand to belly, one hand to heart. But if it's more comfortable and it feels more grounding for you right now to have hands on your knees, you can do so. So this 3-part breath, we're actually going to do it in like steps. So it'll be inhaling into the belly, 1/3 of your inhale, and then you pause and you hold. And then 1/3 of your breath will fill into your ribs and you pause and you hold, and so on. Okay, so we'll do this together. So take a real smooth breath in right now. Through your nose, exhale. Inhale 1/3 of your breath into your belly. Pause. 1/3 of your breath up into your rib cage. Pause. 1/3 of your breath rising up into your heart, and let it lift you light through your throat, your eyes, your crown. And then exhale, descend all the way back down, nice and smooth. Release your breath out. Again, inhale 1/3 of your breath into belly. 1/3 into rims. 1/3 into heart, throat, eyes. Soften your shoulders, relax your chin towards your chest. Exhale, smooth breath. Good, so continue in this way. Staying soft in the pause. The exhales are nice and smooth. And through each step of this breath journey that you are taking yourself on, that you are allowing body to take you on, feeling this sensation of breath, practicing this deep listening. And that happens through sound, but it also happens through like the feeling sense of touch, inner touch. And when you're exhaling, really allow your body to guide you to the very bottom of the exhale. So not what you're telling body, okay, it's time to stop exhaling, right? but you're practicing deep listening. When is that true moment of readiness to receive the next breath? And now taking out the pauses. So now feeling just this natural rise of your inhale, nice and smooth, coming up through these 3 centers: belly, rims, heart, crown, and then descending back down. Good. Inhale, sweeping your arms all the way out and up as you fill your belly, rims, heart. Turning your palms out, exhale, press your arms all the way down by your sides. Turning your palms up, inhale, sweeping your arms up. Feel, listen to the air, exhaling down, that your arms pass through, that your palms pass through. It's almost like you can feel like you were like surrounded by silk sheets. That is the air. And you're just feeling and you're running your fingers through this fabric. And then inhale, floating your arms up, sensing the air touching your palms, bringing your palms together and all the way to your heart. And a full breath, belly, rims, heart. Exhaling, bowing your head. Bowing in this intentional devotion to staying in the deep listening, to trusting the guidance of body as an intelligent system, an entire community of ecosystems right here in this very vessel. May you use this practice to really get to know and to discover the eternal wisdom that exists right here within. Slowly releasing your hands down. Coming forward onto hands and knees, tabletop position. And before we even go into cat-cow, I want you to just start to like roll in circles. Okay, so you can bring your hips back over your heels a little bit and then go out towards the side, come all the way forward, bringing your shoulders over your fingers a little bit. And then you go over to the other side, just so big circles. And then you can start to let your head go with it a little bit if you would like. And then even here as you're quickening your movement, can you stay connected to that 3-part breath? Belly, rims, heart. Go in the other direction with your circles. Soften your jaw. Good, and now come to a tabletop position and start with more of the linear movement with cow-cat. Inhaling, heart forward. Exhaling as you round. So the structure of our fascia, our connective tissue, and of our muscles, everything in our body is actually in like a spiral form. So sometimes when we start with the non-linear, like we just did, it gives us greater access to going in now, because you're covering greater surface area. And now we can go in and we can really feel, actually like feeling into the individual fibers of the tissue that hold your spine. You can feel into the fluid space that exists between each of your vertebrae. And there's more of that deep listening. You've contacted more of your body. Now tuck your toes and lift your hips, pressing back into a downward facing dog. And then let your body guide you. How does body desire to move right now in this moment? Does it desire to move? Does body desire to stay totally still and just deepen the breath? So again, you're not directing your body, you are listening. What would you like, body? You ask. Let body move you. And then eventually finding yourself in stillness, in neutral thought. And everyone using your breath to actually create the lift and the length up through your side waist, inner thighs. Again, soften your jaw, soften your cheeks. Good. Inhale, lift high to your toes. Bend your knees a lot. Gaze between your thumbs. Really press your hips towards the back of your mat. And then step your right foot through between your knees. Really drive into your front heel. Lift your belly away from your thigh. Heart lengthening forward. Inner thighs hug together as you drag your front heel, front hip. One more breath. Little bend of your back knee. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Lengthening your heart forward. Get long in your spine. Fan your toes. And then exhale, drop. And just listen to body. Body is communicating. We feel open here. This is where we're needing a little more love, a little more attention. Or this is where we're holding on to all of that tension. You're just listening, letting body show you. And then inhale, lengthening heart forward. Bend your knees a lot. Step your right leg straight back. Arriving again in your lunge. Light on your fingertips, strong in your legs. A little bit of a scissoring action happening in your legs as you drag front heel down and back. Even your right hip is just softly rolling forward. Very little bit. Okay, one more breath here. Plant your palms nice and flat on the mat. Lift your front foot and step back to plank pose. Spreading your palms, drawing your pubic bone towards your navel so that your tailbone lengthens towards the back of your mat. And then kind of grip the mat just a little bit with your fingertips. And then breathe your sternum pulling forward. One more breath. And now start to push the floor away. Feel your upper back round a little bit. So fan your shoulder blades. As you start to hug your front ribs in towards your back ribs, round more, round more. And now your deep belly is hugging your low spine. And then lift, keep rolling your hips up towards the sky as you press your thighs all the way back into downward facing dog. So you really feel that deep roll through your spine. Now we're going to reverse that, coming back into plank. So again, start with your upper back. To kind of tuck your chin towards your chest. Lift up high onto your toes so you can access more of your upper back, your shoulder blades kind of spreading, wrapping towards your outer armpits. Start to rock your shoulders forward. And now really hug your front ribs in towards your spine, your belly in towards your spine. Keep coming forward, forward. And then once shoulders are over your wrists, then breathe your sternum forward, almost like a cow heart. Keep lengthening tailbone back. And then exhale, slow to round. So we're moving slow to practice that deep listening. You can actually feel little individual fibers that you are strengthening and activating to support your movement. Do it again, rocking forward, lift high to toes, tuck chin towards chest. Use your exhales a lot. Staying soft in your jaw. Deep exhales. Last time, lifting up and back to downward dog, and then we'll give the wrists a little break. Good. Okay, rock forward to plank pose. Set your knees down onto the mat. Good, lower down onto your forearms. Interlace your fingers together. Elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes, or rather extend your right leg straight back, and then extend your left leg straight back. Now, rooting into your palms, forearms, elbows, root down, drag back as you pull your heart forward. Good, and now start to push the floor away, curl and lift your hips up and back. Good, now inhale, rocking forward, shoulders pulling over your hands. Exhale, root down, lift and press back. Inhale, rocking forward. Exhale, press back. One more time. Good, rock forward, set your knees down and press back into child's pose. Now you can leave your palms together and even kind of wiggle your elbows forward just a little bit more. As you sit your hips further back onto your heels. And then you can bend your elbows so your fingers start to point up towards the sky. And you can bring your thumbs all the way around to the base of your neck. Then you might find as you arrive there that you can actually walk your elbows forward just a little bit more. If you feel super long, from your elbows to your ribs to your hips. And extending your arms forward once again. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Drop your head towards the ground as you roll your spine up to sit nice and slow. Listen to your spine by feeling spine. Feeling each vertebra stacking one on top of the other. We rise up. But now bringing your fingertips behind you. If it's uncomfortable to be on your knees, you can certainly find comfortable. So fingers pointing out towards the sides of the room. Really roll your shoulder heads open. Okay, it's almost like your elbows start to point towards the wall behind you. And really root into your fingertips and inhale, lift. Like your bottom ribs all the way up to your collarbones. Start to lift, 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 lift. Send your tailbone down towards the ground. Draw your shoulder blades just a little bit closer together on your spine, and then send them down your back. So it's really what's happening is like the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, which you can think of like the bra line, is lifting up into your chest bone. Good, one more breath. Exhale, softening your chest. Rocking forward, find hands and knees. Tuck your toes, lift and press back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift high to your toes. Bend your knees, gaze forward. Step your left foot through between your hands. Rise up onto your fingertips, lengthening your heart forward. Little bend of your back, knees set to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthening heart long forward. Exhale to fold. Let your body guide you into a halfway lift, sternum forward. Now bend your knees, sit your hips way back. Utkatasana, chair pose. Send more weight into your heels. And then root down into your feet, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Go in and listen. Releasing your arms down. Send your feet as wide as the mat. But bend your knees softly. Bending your knees. Okay. Turning your palms out. Inhale, sweeping your arms all the way out and up. Interlace your fingers above your head. And then turn your palms up towards the sky. Now really drop your weight into your feet. But then also use that, like you're breathing that strength connection, the feet on the earth, you're breathing that up, your thighs, your heart, all the way up to the center of your palms. The rooting, the rising. And now start to roll through your ribs, keeping your feet pressing into the ground. And roll through your hips and your ribs. Bending your hips in big circles. And allowing your ribs to really open. And as you go over to one side, you can really use your opposite foot, rooting down into the mat, to actually find a deeper opening through your ribs. Go in the opposite direction with your circles. You can make them a little bit bigger now. Really find the full 360 circumference of your hips, of your ribs. Breathe any way that is supportive in this moment. Good, and then come to stillness, drop your arms by your sides, and then just listen. Slow your breath down. Close your eyes and just feel your body. Inhale, Utkatasana. Hips back. Exhale, heart drops to the earth. Lengthening your heart long forward. Step back to plank pose. Maybe knees to the mat as you lower through a chaturanga. And then Urdhva Mukha, upward dog, spreading your palms, rolling your outer arms back towards your back body. And then as you root down to lift up, find that curling of your spine that we worked with before. And then press hips back, thighs back, downward facing dog. Using your breath to find that lengthening through the sides of your spine. Inhale, lifting your right leg up and back. Keep your toes, your knee pointing down towards the ground. And then use your palms rooting into the mat to actually find the lift through your upper arms, shoulders, side waist. And then exhale, coming forward, knee to chest, shoulders over wrist. Step through between your hands. Little bend of your back knee, slowly rise to crescent pose. Interlacing your fingers above your head, turning your palms up towards the sky. Hug your inner thighs together, send your right hip back, left hip just gently forward. And then root down, even push through your back heel as you lift again from like your back ribs, your shoulder blades, all the way up to your collarbones. And now finding those big circles through your rib cage. As you press forward push through your palms, you go to the sides, open through your side ribs. As you lift your heart through center, really let your breath touch the back of your heart. Good. Come right through center. Exhale, hands release down onto the mat. Step back to plank pose. Chaturanga, maybe knees supporting. Urdhva Mukha, press your thighs up, lift. Adho Mukha, downward dog, press it. A full breath through belly, through ribs, through heart. So still staying with that deep practicing of listening. Deep breath. Left leg rises. And as you do, let it lift you like there was like a golden energetic string attached to the center of your heel, and it was pulling you up towards the heavens. So you're getting light. Even though your fingertips are rooting into the earth, you're getting light. And then exhale, shoulders over wrists, knee to chest, step through. So really already finding that strong, stable foundation and base for your legs. And because we're going to be doing that movement up at the top of this pose, it's good to have your feet at least hips distance apart, but you might even kind of wiggle your left foot towards the left side of your mat, just like an inch, not too much. And then inhale, rise up, crescent pose. So I would suggest that little adjustment if you felt really wobbly before. Okay, in hugging your inner thighs together. And just finding for a few breaths, this lengthening down of tailbone and the breathing up through back of your heart, back of your ribs. Okay, now interlace your fingers, but try to interlace them the awkward way. And then turn your palms up to the sky. Relax your shoulders. And then as you take your breath from deep root, deep belly, all the way up into your ribs, your heart, that's what's assisting as you start to roll through your ribs, circle through your ribs. Maintaining that strong, stable base, so inner thighs still hugging. Again, that little bit of scissoring action in your legs. Go in the opposite direction. Last circle, open a little bit more and release your hands down onto the mat. Yeah, very good. Step back to plank. Chaturanga. Downward dog. Inhale, lift high to toes. Bend your knees a lot, gaze forward. Make your way to the top of your mat, whether you're stepping or hopping or walking. Lengthening your heart long forward. Exhale, fold over your legs. Take a moment here, you can dangle your head. Using movement, shaking no. To support any bit of relief. Any tension that you just held onto from kind of holding your body in a very strong position. And a lot of times we tend to do yes again in your head. We tend to hold that bit of that tension into our neck and into our jaw. So really, really good. And then just let your head start to come to stillness. Right away, just let your head totally come still. And then as if there were like a 10-pound weight attached to your crown that was just pulling you, dropping you deeper towards the ground, really drop. And then inhale, lengthening your chest long forward. Heel toe your feet wider than your hips. Sweep your arms around and interlace fingers behind. Roll your shoulder blades together onto your back body as you back through your elbows, through your knuckles. Sternum is lengthening forward. Fan your toes. And then feel how long your spine is right now. Maintain that length or even get longer as you drop into the fold. Again, that imaginary 10-pound weight on your crown dropping. As you lengthen, back through shoulders, back through knuckles. Listen inside. And then slowly releasing your hands down by your hips, down to the mat or shins, and then lengthen heart forward. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to plank pose, and then just press right back to downward facing dog, pushing the floor away as you lift your hips. Inhale, your right leg will rise. This time, as you're lifting, now bend your knee, heel towards your buttock, and then turn your hip open towards the right side. However, keep your tailbone lengthening towards the wall behind you as you root down through your palms and breathe long through your belly. Send your foot a little further behind your tailbone. And now straighten your leg, turn your hip down towards the floor, neutral hips, and then rocking your heart forward, shoulders over wrists, knee to chest. Pausing here for a moment, really point through your right toes towards the back of your mat and pull your heel up towards your sit bone. Breathe your front ribs, your belly hugging your spine. One more breath. Gaze in between your thumbs, step your foot through between your hands. Rise again to crescent pose, sweeping your arms up. Turning your palms out, sweep your arms around, interlace fingers behind your back. Roll your shoulder heads open, shoot knuckles down towards the earth. Even more, tailbone goes down. And really use the bend of your back knee to support that. And then root into front heel as you lift, again, from like those low ribs to collarbones. Really fill your breath 360 degrees around your heart space. And now start to pull your forearms towards the wall behind you. Tailbone down, one more breath, lift through your heart, shoot knuckles down, pull arms back, and then soften your shoulders, release your hands. Hands come down onto the mat, drop your back knee. Heel toe your front foot over to the right side. So now both hands are inside of your right foot. Lengthening your heart forward. Can you also find that scissoring action here? So root into front heel, send your outer right hip lengthening back, then also hug inner thighs together. Hug your outer hips together. Lengthening your heart forward. You can either stay here or you can lower down onto your forearms. You have the option as well, whether you are on your hands or forearms, you can tuck your back toes and lift your back knee. But notice what then happens in your hips. There's this tendency for us to see, especially if we're open, to drop our left hip a lot. So feel with your mind's eye, your inner sight. Is your pelvis neutral? Does your sacrum feel flat? Your tailbone lengthening back? Really hug your inner thigh in towards your midline. Okay, if you are on your forearms, start to rise back up onto your hands. Everyone lift your back knee if it wasn't already. And then spin your back heel down towards the left. So you're coming to the pinky side edge of your back foot. Your toes will be pointing to the right. Then you're leaning into your left hand. Turn your right toes out towards the right side. Out towards the right side. And then let your left hip now start to sink towards the ground any amount, and reach your right arm towards the back of your mat. Good, lift. You can push into your front foot to lift your hips, bring both hands back onto the mat, step back to plank pose. You're welcome to take the vinyasa, chaturanga, or press right back to downward dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Bend your knee, open your hip. So focus on lengthening your whole right side ribs, right side waist, just as much as you're lengthening your front body, front hip, front thigh on your left. And now straighten your leg, turn hip down, rock shoulders forward, and pause. Use your fingertips gripping the mat just a little bit. And as you're rooting through your palms, you're actually using it to breathe and lift lighter through your upper arms. Round, round, round. Hug your left heel towards your sit bone. Hug it up, 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 up. Drop your head. And then gaze forward, step through. Rise up to crescent pose. Okay, find that strong, stable, neutral foundation in your legs, your hips. Sweep your arms around. Awkward interlace behind your back. Rolling your shoulder heads open. In fact, everyone bring your knuckles onto your sacrum like I have. Knuckles come onto your sacrum, okay? And I want you to push your sacrum, your tailbone, down towards the ground using your knuckles. And then breathe, your back ribs lifting up the opposite direction. Roll your shoulder heads open so your elbows are almost starting to point behind you. Okay, now maintain all of that as you shoot your knuckles straight down towards the ground. Deep belly rooted breath. Rises 360 degrees around your heart. And now start to pull your forearms away from your body towards the back of the room. More breath in your heart. And then exhale, slowly relax your shoulders, release your hands to the mat. Come to the inside of your left foot as you wiggle left foot over to the left, and then set your back knee down. Good. Lengthening your heart long forward. Dragging your front heel down and back, hugging your inner thigh in towards your midline. And then either staying on your hands or lowering to your forearms. Either staying here or tucking your back toes, lifting your back knee. But then feel, listen to your pelvis. Feel if you're torquing your pelvis in one direction or the other. Try to find neutral through your tailbone lengthening straight back. Beautiful. If you're on forearms, start to rise up onto your hands. Everyone's back knee is lifted. Spin your right heel down to the right. Okay, so your toes will point to the left. And then spin your left toes to point to the left as well. And then slowly let your right hip lower, drop towards the ground, and you'll reach your left arm towards the back of the mat. Good, slowly rising, lifting your hips, setting your hand down, step back to plank. Again, a vinyasa is an option, otherwise downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Or I'm sorry, right leg rises. And then exhale, that slow coming forward, knee to chest, find that deep curl, heel hugging sit bone, and then step through between your hands. Okay, Virabhadrasana 1. So back heel spins down, really root through the pinky side edge of your back foot. And already dragging your front heel down and back, sending your right hip back, pull your sternum forward. Okay, so you already have your strong base. Stay with that as you now sweep your arms up, lift your chest. A few breaths just to settle in. Press your back thigh back strong as you open and lift through your heart. Turn your palms out, sweep your arms around, interlace behind your back. Okay, if you like to play with that, you can do knuckles on your sacrum again. As you roll your shoulder heads open, send your tailbone down, and then drop your knuckles towards the ground. Inhale, lifting through your heart. Exhale, humble warrior, bowing to the inside of your thigh. Kind of pressing your right knee out towards the right side, just a little, so that you can fold inside. Drop your head down. Good, now your feet are holding you. And the more you give yourself to them, the more they can hold you. So drop your weight, surrender into your feet. Surrender into your feet. Surrender into your feet. And then slowly releasing your hands down. Come to the ball of your back foot. Hands can frame your front foot. No, I'm sorry, hands come inside of your front foot. Heel toe your right foot over to the right side. Rock your back knee down. And now send your hips back, lengthening through your front leg. Now walking your hands kind of over towards the left side. Keep sending your right hip a little further back. You might even kind of crawl your right fingertips towards the left front corner or wherever it's pointing a little more. And now start to turn your chest open, sweep your arm, your right arm open towards the sky, big circle. And hand releases back down onto the ground. Okay, do that one more time, big circle. Keep lengthening your right hip back. Good, and then walking your hands back onto the mat, just inside of your front foot, re-bend into your front knee. Twisting open to the right side. Really wrap your left shoulder blade down your back. I'm just gonna adjust this because the light is on. Okay, so you're twisting open. And now start to sweep your right arm all the way towards the back of your mat. Now the tendency here is to drop your hip down, and you can see how uneven my pelvis is right now. So keep lifting your left hip up, hugging your outer hip in, as you then start to bend your back knee and reach around. You can always lift onto your fingertips of your left hand if you don't have a block to support and you need to lift. And keep rolling your shoulder head open, hugging outer right hip in, dragging it back. Good, and then slowly releasing your back foot, hands down, lift your back knee, step to plank. Chaturanga if you so please, otherwise straight back to downward dog, using a few breaths, a few little movements to find extra length, especially through the tissues that connect your low spine to the back of your pelvis. Use breath and movement to lengthen. Your left leg rises, inhale. Exhale, shoulders over wrist, knee to chest, moving slow, hug, heel to sit bone, and then step. Virabhadrasana 1, just at first establish your legs. Don't even rise. Don't even rise. Stay down. Root through the pinky side edge of your back foot. Drag your front heel down and back. Find that little bit of scissoring action that's happening in your legs. Now, reading your side ribs, your sternum forward. Nothing changes in your legs as you rise up. Virabhadrasana 1. Another breath surrounding your heart. And then turning your palms out, sweeping your arms around, interlace. You're rolling your shoulder heads open, knuckles pressing into your sacrum, slide your tailbone, sacrum lengthening down. And then breathe, lift through back ribs, through sternum, and then shoot knuckles straight down towards the ground. Another breath here. And then exhale, humble warrior, coming inside of your thigh. You might even flutter your lips, make sure your face is really dropped and heavy and soft. And give your weight to the ground. And exhale, hands come down inside of your front foot. Heel toe your front foot over to the left. And then drop your back knee down, straighten your front leg, flex this front foot so that your toes are pulling kind of like towards your outer shoulder. And then start to walk your hands over towards the right side. As you send your left hip further back. And now lean to the right, turn your chest open, sweep your left arm all the way around and down once again. Do one more big circle. And then walking your hands back through center. Shift your weight forward once again. Twisting open to the left side. Notice what then happens in your pelvis. Now reaching your left arm all the way towards the back of the mat. Bend your back knee, catch a hold of your foot. Or you're just reaching and that's just fine as well. Okay, and it's that same action of hugging your heel towards your sit bone. Root into your front heel. Send your front hip back, your left hip back. As you breathe, your sternum lengthening long forward and turn open a little bit more. Good, slowly releasing your back foot, hand to the mat, lift your back knee, set to plank. Your choice, whether you take the vinyasa or rest in downward dog or even child's pose. Come back into this listening so that you're only doing the movement, doing the shapes, the poses in practice of this deep listening as a way to access and know yourself in all of your forms. Slowly come down onto your knees if you're in downward dog. Everyone find child's pose. Go back to finding those 3-part breaths, just smoothly flowing in and out. And then inhale, rise up onto hands and knees. And start to walk your hands towards your knees until you can bring your hands onto your thighs and rise up so you're standing on your knees and your shins. Now, if you need any extra padding under your knees at this moment, we're moving into camel pose. So you can always bring a blanket, a towel, or you can even take your mat and fold it half back or even double back if you want a little extra padding. Okay, now bringing your hands onto your sacrum, fingertips pointing down towards the ground. Unless that hurts your wrist, you can actually turn your fingers up towards your shoulder blades. So just whatever way it feels better in your wrists. However, in either direction, you're using the heel of your hand to actually slide your buttock flesh towards the backs of your knees, okay? And then softly start to press your hips forward. But then we don't want to sit in our low back, so we want to Breathe and lift up. So while tailbone lengthening is lengthening down, your back ribs are actually like lifting up off of your waist. Your whole low spine, your lumbar spine is getting super spacious. Okay, keep lifting up, keep lifting up. Maybe hips press forward a little bit more as you lift further up, up through your heart, and then start to take it back just a little bit. Good, and then keep doing that with your breath. Lifting as tailbone lengthens down, and then you might go back just a little bit more. Just to do that one more time, rooting, lifting, maybe going further back. Good. And then slowly rising, shoulders over hips. Sit your hips back onto your heels. If it's uncomfortable to sit like this, you can always stay standing on your shins and just keep your spine erect. And then bring one hand onto your belly, like just below your navel, and then your other hand directly in that same spot on your back, so on your sacrum. And breathe into the space between your palms. So your breath touches your back hand and your front hand at the same time. Good, and then inhale, rising up. You can release your hands, coming into it once again. This time, tuck your toes underneath so your heels can come lifted off of the ground a little bit. Return hands onto your sacrum, fingers down or up, depending on how it feels in your wrist. Sending your tailbone lengthening down, hips pressing forward, and then inhale, lift out of your low spine. And now really send your breath into the back of your heart. Lifting, lifting, lifting through your collarbones, and then starting to go back, back, back. Keep doing that like we did before. You keep working with those little movements. And then maybe, this is a maybe, your hands come down onto your ankles. 4 fingers would be on the outside of your ankles. Thumbs are on the inside. Keep lengthening tailbone down, back ribs, breathing up off of your waist. And the same breath that pierces the back of your heart does so and expands up into your collarbones. Final breath here. And then returning your hands at the same time onto your sacrum. Slow. Listening to your body as you come back to center. Untuck your toes. Slowly sit back onto your heels. Keep your tailbone dropping towards the ground. You can take one hand onto belly, one hand onto sacrum. And I like to kind of do the opposite. You can feel what feels good for you right now, but I like to do the opposite hands than I did before. Just breathe between those points. Listen to the settling, right? We were in the yang, we were in the activation. But for what? Just to do it? No, to receive it, to feel it, to integrate it into you, into self. Okay, slowly coming forward, bringing hands onto the ground. Tabletop position. Lengthening your heart long forward. Exhale, the slowest cat pose you've ever done. Incredibly slow. So you are inviting your body and you're really listening to your body the whole way. You're holding body's hand and saying, you're safe, you're safe. Show me the pace to move. Show me, and then continue to move into cow. Again, just move really slow. And it's in this slowness that we can actually feel. So to know is to feel, and to feel is to be alive. To feel is to be alive. Be alive in your spine. Be alive in your back skin. Be alive in your back tissue. Really sensing this structure of body that literally supports you and holds you up. And while the structure of your back body does this physically, this physical support, it's also going into the space and having a deep relationship with back body where you can access your own internal support, like you back yourself up. And you can find that here. Okay, and then coming to a neutral spine. Inhale, sweeping your right arm towards the sky. Exhale, thread your arm underneath, coming down onto the side of your shoulder, the side of your ear. Now actually use your left hand underneath your elbow to press yourself, turning open just a little bit more. And then deep breath into your ribs. You can either stay like this, you might step your left foot out directly to the side of your hip, so not behind you, to the side of your hip. And if you do so, you push flat into that foot to turn yourself open. But it's important that that left foot is rooted flat. If you want a little more shoulder opening, you might sweep your left arm open. But we've done a lot of that, so no worries if you feel perfect just the way you are. Okay, and then hand comes down onto the ground. Again, if you lifted your arm, your leg steps back in if you stepped it out, and then slowly rise up again. Return with your right arm up to the sky. And then hand coming down onto the breast. Inhale your heart forward, cow spine. Exhale, rounding a line into cat. Good, find a neutral spine. Then taking your left arm, sweeping up towards the sky. Exhale, threading underneath. Finding your breath in especially your low back ribs, Maybe your right leg steps out to the side. Again, if you do that, really plant your foot firm onto the ground, and then you might turn yourself open a little bit deeper. Some of you might like to take your arm open. So any variation you might have done on the other side. You're just here to listen. You're not even here to deepen. You're not even here to stretch. You're just here to listen. In a position, in a shape that you've never been before. Releasing your hand down, stepping your leg in. And then slow to rise. So you're not just rising just to rise, just because it's the next place to go, but you're moving, you're on a journey. So feel it the whole way, observe it, be with it. Bending your arm back up to the sky. And same thing, really be with the journey of lowering your arm, lowering your hand down onto the mat again. And then really be with the journey. This is a cow-cat you've never experienced before. You've never experienced this expression of it. And this sensation in your spine. Finding your way to child's pose. This time, bring your inner knees, inner thighs together. Find that scoop of your belly towards your spine. As you press your hips back, even tuck your chin towards your chest a little and set your forehead down on the mat. You might even bring your arms down by your sides and just let your shoulder head just drop and melt towards the ground. like to tell ourselves that it is us telling our body what to do, that we get up and we tell body what to do, and it's that our brain is telling telling our body what to do, but it's actually, or just as much, the other way around, where your body is this whole intelligent system that is communicating back to your brain. And in fact, studies are now finding that your gut is actually informing your brain, which then informs your body. So it's not always about us giving ourselves that advice, like the card said. It's not us about telling our bodies what to do, but to actually listen and feel, what does my body actually need? If the body could guide me through my day of choosing even things like my food choices, or how I'm moving my body, or how I'm dropping into my heart when I'm speaking to people, then how would body decide to move? Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Really drop your head a lot. And slowly rise all the way up. And swing your legs out from underneath you. Coming down to your back. All the way down onto your back. Okay, so we've done a lot of activation through our spine today. So I want you to just give yourself a moment to just practice this listening of bringing your spine to the earth. So make sure your knees are bent, your feet are on the ground, and you'll apply a little bit of pressure, soft pressure through your feet, just enough that it kind of snuzzles your back body into the ground a little bit more. And then close your eyes and breathe into your back. Breathe into your back skin. Breathing into the ground. Sensing the intelligence of your spine. The memories held in your back tissues. And all of that meeting the intelligence, the life, the consciousness, the memories stored in the earth. Even if it's just imagining what that would be like, because even though that's one of our greatest gifts as humans, is being connected to the earth, we've tended to live our lives in ways that really kind of numb out those abilities to be in a deep tuning in and sensing of earth intelligence, earth frequency. So when we do this type of practice where we're just practicing this deep listening, not only is it allowing us to come into a deeper relationship with the earth, but it allows us to come into a deeper relationship with our own nature. Because our body is the earth. So staying rooted and breathing and connected into your back body, draw your right knee into your chest. You can catch your knee with your hand and just kind of draw and hug your knee in towards your shoulder. You can kind of let your inner thigh hug your side waist a little bit. So there's a little bit of an opening in your hip. Good. And then cross your ankle over your left thigh. Okay, so your right knee is opening out towards the side, and then thread the needle, drawing your legs all the way in, both feet flex, and stay with breathing your back into the ground and letting that breath flood into your hips. every exhale, drawing your legs just a tiny bit closer in. And now inhale, curl the head, neck, and shoulders all the way up off of the mat. And kind of tuck your chin towards your chest just a little bit. Soften your shoulders a lot. So you're still in this kind of figure four. Take your right forearm and wrap it in front of your right shin. You take your left forearm, thread it through this little triangle that you already have, and take both forearms around your shin, around the front of your shin. Really hugging in, still breathe your back into the ground. And now slowly extend your left leg all the way out, long towards the front of your mat. Keep your front heel hovered above the mat. Reach out through your big toe mound as you hug your shin, your thigh closer in. And breathe your back into the ground so that your heart may lift towards your shin. And then slowly drawing your left knee back in, it bends and reconnects onto your ankle. And then relax your chest all the way down onto the ground. Open your arms out to a T, and then cross your legs all the way over. So just keep crossing your right leg over until you have thigh on top of thigh. You might even take your foot around your calf. And then everyone drop your knees over to the left side. Really relax your back, relax your shoulder blades. Breathing into your back body so much it expands into your front body. Your last inhale, make it even fuller than you think you can. Open through your back, ribs, backs of shoulders, and then slowly rising back to center. Setting your feet down onto the mat, arms by your sides. That gentle pressure of your feet into the ground. And breathe your back into earth. Feel the earth beyond the mat, beyond the ground, into the deep soil, the deep core, the deep womb of the earth. And then draw your left knee in, catching it with your left hand. Kind of open your hip just a tiny bit so that your knee starts to hug a little bit towards your left shoulder. And then taking your ankle to cross over your right thigh. Press your knee open. Thread the needle, staying connected back to the earth. Both feet are flexed. And it's not forceful. It's an inviting of your body, but then you let your body move you deeper into the pose. Taking both of your forearms, wrapping underneath. First, sorry, don't do that yet. Keep your hands on your thigh and then curl your head, neck, and shoulders up first. relaxing your shoulders, and then take your forearms around the front of your shin. And then drawing everything in a little bit closer, extend your right leg out long in front of you. Heel hovering, extend through big toe mounds. Drawing your right leg back in, and slowly relax your chest down. Arms open out to a T. Cross your left thigh all the way over your right thigh. And twist. Legs drop to the right. Final inhale, invite your back ribs to welcome in more breath than you think they might. And then slowly rising center. Setting your feet down onto the ground, arms by your sides. One more time. It's so simple, it could even be agitating for some, okay? So just let yourself be with whatever experience you have of doing this very simple, but intricate, intimate experience. Just breathing back tissues, back skin, into the earth, and also receiving the earth into your back. Receive the earth into your back. Or just use your imagination. What would that feel like? And then drawing your right knee slowly into your chest. Your hand can catch your knee, and then your left knee, same thing, drawing in. Flex your feet, open your knees nice and wide. And then come into a full happy baby. Heels over your knees. Hands can hold your feet or your calves or your thighs. Just a gentle encouragement. You pull down on your feet. Knees descend towards the earth. Sense your breath pool inside the bowl of your pelvis. As your tailbone, backs of your hips sink deeper into the ground. You feel breath in the tissues that connect to your tailbone. Relaxing your heels towards your buttock, hands to your outer knees to close them together. Wrapping your arms around your knees, your shins curling into a small ball. This act of almost sealing all of your practice deep inside. You're packing it in, hugging it in. On an exhale, relax your chest down. Set one foot on the mat and then the other. Lift your hips, lower your hips just a little bit, just kind of resetting your pelvis. And then extend one leg all the way out and then the other. Arms by your sides, palms up to the sky. Shavasana. The ultimate act of feeling, the ultimate act of deep listening. Where it's not about the doing. The doing has been done. And now it's in the being, that internal sight. You're listening, feeling, sensing, witnessing. And this is not passive. It doesn't make it less than the doing, and certainly does not make it less powerful, because it is here in the receiving, in the being, the witnessing, where the integration occurs. So again, that it becomes not something that you just did, but it actually becomes part of who you are.
And now, as you even start to deepen your breath, can you do so from a place of the only thing you're doing is giving the invitation to your body, going in with that intention to open and letting your body guide you into the opening, where body naturally receives the breath coming in, and thus where body naturally starts to open on its own. You just go into that space and just give that gentle encouragement of open more, like little whispers of open more, body, open more. Finding little movements in your fingers and your toes. Taking any bit of movement, you might take a full body stretch, reaching your arms overhead, reaching through your thighs, deep, deep, deep breath. And then exhaling, letting all of that just soften, drop. And in your own time, bending your knees, rolling to your side. And gently rising all the way to sit up. Bring one hand onto your belly, one hand onto your heart. And you can also play with those placements. Sometimes it actually feels nicer to bring your hand onto your solar plexus, and there's this nice space you bring right in between your chest bone. Your thumb can be there. So you just play with where does it actually feel good to have my hands on my body right now? And just breathe into those spaces. You're breathing this unspoken. So it's not through words, but it's through energy, it's through feeling, it's through intention. Breathing into your body, your gratitude and your acknowledgement. Sometimes it's actually hard to find gratitude if we're unsatisfied with the expectations that we had set for ourselves. And so just through acknowledgement, we can access that. And you just simply acknowledge body for the work that it's done, that it will continue to do for you. And perhaps breathing an intention of communication to your body that I will stay in this awareness, acknowledgement of you, body, all day, all week, all moments. And may we be in a relationship, a partnership, finding this dynamic, compassion, forgiveness, understanding between self and body. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Breathe from your deep roots up into your heart, your breath literally touching your thumbs. And then exhale, bow your head. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for being here with me. So lovely to see you. See you soon.